It would not be a morning on Cornwell Hademu's farm if there was no Chibwantu. It's the traditional drink of the Tonga people who live in southern Zambia. It's made with water and maize grits. It has a milky color. The taste is kind of similar to a corn silk tea you might find at a Korean restaurant, but you drink it cold and there are bits in it. Some people like to add sugar. Chibwantu keeps farmers fueled when they work long days in the field. And when Cornwell has guests over, he lets them know they're welcome by sharing the drink with them. On a sunny day last July, he shared the traditional drink with guests from a cooperative called Happy Planet. In this final episode on how sustainable agriculture is having ripple effects across Choma, we meet this new set of Cornwell collaborators. Let us find out how they're using Nature Answers to help people recovering from addiction turn over a new leaf. Welcome to Nature Answers, Rural Stories from a Changing Planet. Together, we explore stories of how communities in rural sub-Saharan Africa are working with nature to adapt to climate change. I'm your host, Ivy Prosper, joining you from Accra, Ghana. This is our season finale. We've spent a lot of time this season meeting the people behind climate change. Those who are using the power of nature, what we call a nature-based solution, to adapt to the changes they're seeing in their community. These are the stories of people who are using those solutions to make a difference in their communities. This season has been such a powerful learning experience. I've discovered how people in rural communities are not only dealing with the impacts of climate change, but also coming up with creative local solutions to tackle them. Some of these stories are completely new to me. I wouldn't have known they existed if it weren't for the voices shared here on Nature Answers. What a truly inspiring experience, seeing how these individuals have pushed forward even when nature throws challenges their way or when their communities are hesitant to embrace the change. And yet, time and again, they prove that their ideas work, and even more importantly, that their communities can grow stronger by adapting for the better. But without further ado, let's begin to dive into this episode. Do you remember Cornwell Hademu? If not, let me refresh your memory. He's a farmer from Choma in Zambia's southern province. The last two episodes, we found out that he has been busy spreading the gospel of sustainable agriculture in his community.
When you are working with a community, do not leave them behind.
Sustainable agriculture is a nature-based solution. It employs climate-smart practices to ensure healthy fields without doing further damage to the environment. Happy Planet is one organization that Cornwell partners with. He invited them to come demonstrate on his farm how they make one of their signature products, biochar. But before I tell you about it, I need to introduce the group to you properly. Meet Kelvin Siafweba. He's 50 years old. In 2019, he decided that he wanted help.
During the time actually I was an addict of alcohol, I think I became unproductive.
At the time, Kelvin was struggling with alcoholism. He lost his marriage and his business to his relationship with alcohol. So he turned to the Choma Alcohol and Drugs Rehabilitation Organization, or CADRO. It's an NGO that was founded by a teacher in Choma who was recovering from alcoholism. With CADRO, Kelvin found a group that supported him on his journey to recovery.
I think what really caught my imagination is the motto that CADRO has, from addiction to production.
And before long, he started supporting others too. In 2022, he co-founded Happy Planet.
People actually started complaining that the reason why we relapse, go back to the drinking, is because we have no job. By that time, most of the people actually, they were jobless.
CADRO's motto is from addiction to production. Happy Planet is a business offshoot of the organization that was created to fulfill the production aspect of this mission. The Young Cooperative employs people recovering from addiction and some who are affected by alcohol abuse in their family. So Happy Planet became a way to give people recovering from addiction something to do to keep busy. Together, they make charcoal products that are good for the environment without cutting down any trees. They also offer training to teach other people how to make biochar. This is how Cornwell first heard about them. A lot of the members in the women's groups he worked with relied on tree cutting to make charcoal. Groups like Twachianda in Mbole, who we met 2 episodes ago, most charcoal in Zambia is made by cutting trees. This has caused a lot of deforestation. But Happy Planet makes charcoal briquettes out of dry plant waste instead. Things like groundnut shells, maize cobs, and stalks, even invasive species. Do you remember Esther from the last episode?
So everything we plant, we use organic things. Our fertilizer is organic.
She learned how to make briquettes from Happy Planet. She makes her own with the pits and the skins of her avocados. Briquettes burn for a long time and they don't produce smoke. When Cornwell first heard about this alternative, he wanted to learn more.
So I visited their office. I saw that the concept they are promoting is a good one.
His social work organization contracted Happy Planet to train women's groups in making briquettes. Through their collaboration, Cornwell found out more about Happy Planet. He took an interest in the organization. They were still pretty loosely structured at the time, so they asked him for help. He helped them to straighten out their paperwork, to become a legal entity and figure out their organizational structure. Now 12 people work at Happy Planet, 4 of them are women. Because the cooperative is still small, the salaries are minimal. Jenny Featherstone is a volunteer for Happy Planet. She used to be a missionary for the Methodist Church, but she decided to stay in Zambia when she retired. Since the British colonized much of southern Africa, a lot of missionaries have come to what became independent Zambia in 1964. Now Jenny supports Cadro and Happy Planet as an unpaid advisor. She says most Happy Planet employees currently make 1,300 kwacha per month. That's just under 70 Canadian dollars.
So it's a really, really small amount. So we're trying to big it up, and Mr. Hademu has partnered with us, and we're very grateful for his knowledge and his partnership that he can help us expand so that these guys can be at least on 3,000 or 4,000 a month.
The money they earn comes from conducting training sessions for groups on how to make their charcoal products or from selling them. Aside from the briquettes, they also make products for chickens. They range from large briquettes made for keeping coops warm overnight to activated charcoal that gets mixed into chicken feed. Cornwell likes the last one.
So this will help me to ensure that no more diseases in my chicken runs. As I'll be sprinkling, diseases run away from charcoal. Remember, charcoal, when one is poisoned, here we normally rush to use charcoal as a neutralizer.
But the Happy Planet product that Cornwell is most interested in is their biochar. He has started adding it to his compost manure. Biochar is a soil enhancer. It's not a fertilizer because its stable minerals stay in the soil for decades. Some say even hundreds of years. Happy Planet did not invent biochar, but they are adapting it to their local conditions. The idea for biochar came from a place an ocean away from Choma, the Amazon basin. Indigenous populations there added charcoal and manure to the soil to maintain a high concentration of nutrients and minerals despite heavy rains and flooding. After thousands of years of practice, the soil has turned dark and very, very fertile. It's now commonly known as terra preta. So adding biochar to the soil is meant to try and replicate these benefits. Biochar is also carbon negative. Even if it's made by burning biomass, it traps the carbon decomposing plants would otherwise release back into the air into a special kind of charcoal. It's even got an international reputation. The United Nations have taken an interest in the role it could play to protect the environment and achieve sustainable development goals. For farmers, though, it helps retain soil moisture and boost plant growth. Kelvin says that biochar is an alternative to the fertilizer handed out by the government through farmer input support programs.
Most of the small-scale farmers, they find it very difficult to access the farmers input support program. And we are advising them actually that they can start improving their own soil with the local material that is available within their proximity, so that they don't spend a lot of money, but they are going to harvest a lot. When they use actually the composite and they use the biochar. Because most of the land actually around this place or in other places, the soils have been depleted. And thank God that we are using the biochar, which increases the pH, which is a very good thing. So in the depleted soils, you are able to improve it, and then you are able to grow and harvest.
Cornwell invited Happy Planet to demonstrate how biochar is made on his farm for us. To start, the members of Happy Planet make a deep hole in the ground in the shape of a cone. They fill it with dried stalks of invasive or waste plants, never trees. Then they start their fire. The fire has to reach very high heat and let in very little oxygen to produce the right kind of charcoal. Naftali Daka is in charge of marketing for Happy Planet. He is the one who conducted the demonstration.
Everything starts from the pit. There are a lot of products that you can make from this pit. About 7 of them. In fact, even more than that.
The blazing fire then gets quenched with cold water. This produces a shock for the charcoal that makes it expand and become more porous. After that, the ashes are shoveled to a mortar and get finely ground. Happy Planet adds manure and just a tiny bit of water to the ashes. They also add microbes that multiply in the mix. The whole thing just gets mixed by hand on a plastic tarp, easy as can be.
So our biochar is now done.
The microbes and the manure are part of Happy Planet's recipe, but you won't find them in every version of biochar. Mochipapa Station researchers, who we met in our previous episode, have been studying Happy Planet's biochar to see what kind of results it can yield. They haven't published their results yet because the drought brought some delays. But Ben Chisenga shared his impressions with us.
It is massive. It is working, actually. The biochar is working.
For now, the members of Happy Planet are still working on convincing local farmers that biochar can help them. As we found out in part 1, with the reaction from Cornwell's neighbors when he took up sustainable farming, old mentalities die hard. But once Mochipapa Research publishes its results, it might help change some minds. If more people start to believe in the benefits of their biochar and briquettes, it could have a big impact on the community. And the cooperative could create more jobs for people looking to overcome their addiction. Cornwell says alcohol abuse is a widespread concern.
It has destroyed families because people are not drinking responsibly. They are drinking irresponsibly. Divorces are on the high rate because of alcohol. Productivity is low. So their mission to minimize or to make people drink alcohol responsibly is a very, very good mission.
Zambian public health officials are especially worried about the rise in alcohol consumption and substance abuse for young adults and adolescents. Over 70% of mental health cases recorded in Choma district are attributed to alcohol and drug abuse. Officers from the district health department have told local news this is a concern for them. And it's not just the drinking. It's also what goes on in the drinks. The majority of alcohol consumed in Zambia is not beer, wine, or spirits, according to the World Health Organization. It's mostly artisanal brews like chibuku or kachasu, especially in poor rural areas, because they are cheaper. But the brewing of these drinks is not regulated, and the percentage of alcohol in the final product can be low or as high as 70%. Sometimes harmful ingredients like methylated spirits and shoe polish are added in. Last May, the Zambia Daily Mail reported that one incident of bad brewing even killed at least 18 people in southern Zambia. Local police in Zambia said they were seeing an uptick in victims affected by homemade alcohol. Cadro provides a support system for those who want help letting go of bad drinking habits. Being part of Happy Planet and having a productive outlet is making a difference for Naftali and others in the program.
One thing that we've come to understand is alcohol has a lot of disadvantages because it affects your life, and most likely most of the people have even lost employment and the other benefits because of the same alcohol. So by realizing that you have a problem in alcohol is something that is so important, so that you can change yourself. Because if only if you can't change yourself, because most of them are even dead by now, it's likely that we are still alive to even see people trying to help the alcoholics to recover. So it's quite helpful because once you realize that you have a problem, that's the best thing to do, because you know how to make your adjustments and change your life. I think it's quite helpful. It has really changed our lives, and I'm sure for me, I think I can appreciate that one.
Since Kelvin helped start Happy Planet, he's learned a lot. Yes, sometimes it's a tough sell to get people to try out their products, but he says the struggle is worth it because of the end result.
Now, what I've realized is there are people that think an alcoholic is a person who can just let go in the street, but we need to bring them closer and advise them, show them the love, that they are capable of changing and becoming a better citizen and also become productive.
We've covered a lot of ground in Choma meeting Cornwell's associates. In part 1, we met women in Mubole fighting to get pregnant teenage girls back in school after they gave birth. In part 2, we met researchers working against the constraints of a drought in order to help small-scale farmers be more resilient to climate change. We also met Esther, who wants to open an avocado oil factory that will give jobs to people who up until now have relied on charcoal burning to make ends meet. And in this episode, we heard from Happy Planet. The group is hoping to create stable, good jobs to help people overcome alcohol and drug abuse. All of them are powered in some way or another by sustainable agriculture. That's why Cornwell is so passionate about spreading the word about the nature-based solution. It can do more than grow bountiful crops. It can completely change lives. It's easy to get discouraged in the face of climate change, especially when it's making your neighbors go hungry. But Cornwell prefers to focus on what working together can achieve through mentorship and collaboration.
It will rejuvenate the spirits of our people, which has gone down as a result of climate change. Yes, climate change is a serious danger to our community, but behind every problem, there's a silver lining. There's an opportunity that we have not seen, but it's there. Just look intently. So I'm not discouraged about climate change at all. To me, it's a time to make things better.
That was Nature Answers from Farm Radio International. As I wrap up this episode, I'm left feeling hopeful, hearing how everyday people are finding ways to live in harmony with nature. It reminds me that change is possible. One idea, one community at a time. Thanks for joining me on Nature Answers. You can learn more about nature-based solutions and the people implementing them by subscribing to Nature Answers wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow us on social media at Farm Radio. Find pictures of the community on our website, farmradio.org/natureanswers. You will also find transcripts and more about nature-based solutions there. You can also help support the work Farm Radio International is doing to support farmers by leaving us a donation there at farmradio.org. Finally, share Nature Answers with your friends and family. We'd love for you to spread the word. We're already working on Season 3. By the time you're listening to this, we'll have 7 students in Uganda, Cote d'Ivoire, and Zambia recording next season's episodes. You can follow along with what they're doing and what they're working on by following Farm Radio International. You can also visit our website and learn how you can take part in nature-based solutions yourself, no matter where you live. We can't wait to see you next season. Until then, I'm Ivy Prosper, coming to you from Accra, Ghana.